dramatic video right here on WTOL 11 Plus. Now dinner takes a dangerous turn.
Yeah, the frightening moment caught on camera and why it was being recorded in the first place. We've got that story. Also, attention Walmart shoppers, check your freezers. We are tracking a shrimp recall with a shocking twist. Federal regulators say these shellfish, you ready for this, could be radioactive. And the brand is sold right here in Ohio.
And how's the federal takeover going when it comes to crime and safety in the nation's capital? The update from the White House and the investigation into the data that led to the government getting involved in the first place. Thanks for joining us here on WTOL 11 Plus. Now it's Northwest Ohio and Southeast Michigan's only live local streaming newscast here at 6:30. I'm Kaylee Maritet.
And I'm Jeff Smith. Good to be with you. Our first story tonight is not about gloom and doom or crime, and it's not one of those stories that will make you say, oh, the news is so negative. No, new tonight. Chick-fil-A in Findlay has a new hire, and he even thought the only thing you need to know is that he's only a month in and he's already a guest favorite. Sophia Perricone introduces us to 86-year-old BB.
At Chick-fil-A in Findlay, guests are treated to the outstanding customer service the chain is known for.
Everything okay for you?
Yeah, thank you. But unlike other locations across the country, this one has BB.
Everything okay for you folks?
Hi. Yes, we're doing great.
How are you?
86-year-old Burdette Schneider, also known as BB, has been at Chick-fil-A for just over a month.
Delivering food or cleaning the tables and stuff like that. Making sure all the guests are happy.
He left a different chain in town for this one.
I'll be 87 next month. This would really be a nice place because I watched everybody work. They work like a team, just like a football team.
And he's already making an impact with guests.
When I've come in, I would be more like, okay, I'm the outsider coming in because I'm not from this area. BB comes in, they say, oh, it's BB. I said, I know, isn't it great? It's BB.
But BB isn't paying attention to the love he's getting from them.
Thank you so much.
Okay, my pleasure.
For him, it's about the service.
Try to have your service right up there so that when they leave here, they're happy, so that they'll not only come back here, but if they're traveling, they'll stop at another Chick-fil-A's.
And making sure his own team is taking care of one another.
And if I'm here to hear solo, they'll come over and say, is there anything you need? Can we help you? You know, and so forth and that. It's a team effort here. And it's just so amazing how everybody works together.
BB learned that team mentality early on. He played football for Ohio State in the 50s.
I was the starting quarterback in the freshman team at Ohio State in 57. Jimmy Herbstreit, which is Kirk Herbstreit's father, Tom Maddie, and Jim Tyronel, they were in the freshman team with me.
But BB's got a bigger goal too. He wants to pay off the house he and his wife bought in 2009.
So if something that ever happened to me, my wife and the kids, they don't have to go pay that house off.
He plans on being at Chick-fil-A until he's 90.
I just love working here. Everybody's so friendly. They greeted me with open arms.
And that's exactly how BB plans to serve guests until then.
I just keep trying to smile and do my job and make them happy so that they want to come back. It just seems to come natural for me.
All right, Sophia's joined us talking about finding BB. How did BB come under the radar?
I found BB on Facebook, just scrolling through. The Chick-fil-A Findlay had posted a picture of BB, who is 86, he'll be 87 next month, and they said, oh, we're so excited to welcome our newest employee, BB. And I was like, doesn't look like the typical Chick-fil-A employee.
Right.
So I reached out because I knew there had to be something there. Why is this 86-year-old man working at Chick-fil-A? And they connected me. They told me a little bit about BB. He worked at a different fast food chain, and he was hired at Chick-fil-A early July, and they said ever since then people have been coming into Chick-fil-A just to see him. So I knew there was something there.
That's the one thing you said in your story. You said, obviously, everybody's so used to the pleasant atmosphere in Chick-fil-A. The employees are told. Is that kind of his personality you found as well?
Oh, yeah. He has a smile on his face. If someone is getting up from their table, he's rushing over. Can I take that? Can I take that? My pleasure. My pleasure. You know, that's their thing is my pleasure. And he's just so happy. Everyone's seeing him and smiling. It's just a good vibe in there when BB's in the room.
Is that in the handbook for them to say my pleasure?
Think, yeah.
These are stories, Sophia, you've covered the gamut. You've done hard news. You've done softer stories like this. How fun was this, covering this one?
I loved this because it puts a smile on my face too, and that means I know the viewers are going to enjoy it as well. So there's a lot going on in the world. If we can bring them something that'll make them smile, that makes me smile.
How often is he there? When can people see the next appearance of BB?
He is part-time. He's 25 hours a week. I think he does 4 hours a day for five-ish days.
So if you go and BB's there, you've lucked out.
Him. Yes.
Sophia, thanks. Kaylee, back to you.
All right, thanks, Jeff. We're breaking down the stories making headlines across the country and globe. On this Tuesday, the FDA has issued a recall for potentially radioactive shrimp that may have made their way to Ohio Walmart locations. A pair of influencers were recording on what was supposed to be a food review when something unexpected happened. And Hurricane Erin is rapidly rolling through the Atlantic. And even without landfall, there are warnings on land. First, it's been nearly 2 weeks since President Donald Trump announced federal police would take charge of safety in Washington, D.C.
There have been a total of 465 arrests since the start of this operation on Thursday, August 7th.
The White House says police made 52 arrests in the nation's capital last night. That list included an alleged MS-13 gang member in the country illegally. This all comes as the Associated Press reports President Trump's Justice Department is investigating whether police officials falsified crime data in D.C. Well, there's a warning from the FDA tonight, and it's not something you typically hear. Shoppers could throw out certain bags of frozen shrimp sold at Walmart. It may be contaminated with a radioactive isotope and was imported from Indonesia and shipped to 13 states, including Ohio. Walmart officials say the recall only affects Great Value brand shrimp with the lot codes you see on your screen, and the best of date by March 15th, 2027. The FDA says it doesn't believe contaminated shrimp entered the U.S. food supply, but they are urging caution. A shocking scene inside a Houston restaurant on Saturday. 2 food reviewers were filming when a car suddenly smashed through the front window, sending tables, glass, and food flying across the room. The influencers later posted another video from the hospital as they received stitches. Remarkably, no one was seriously hurt. And Hurricane Erin is churning up dangerous conditions along the East Coast. A tropical storm warning is posted for much of North Carolina. Forecasters warn of pounding surf, rip currents, and possible flooding during high tide. The storm rapidly intensified to a Category 5 over the weekend and is now a Category 2 with waves that could top 20 feet along the Outer Banks.
I've had a good life, and I still do.
And coming up from the battlefields to the sidelines to the love of his family, he's a war hero, a coach, and now a centenarian. Tonight, we celebrate a legend turning 101.
Now, relive the magic like never before.
And from Dirty Dancing, The Breakfast Club, the classics are coming back. How you can relive the magic from the 80s with a trip back in time. Chris?
A little bit of wet weather on radar still at this point this evening. Showers and storms tracking east of I-75. Who's getting some of that much-needed rain? We'll have more coming up after the break.
Well, thanks so much for being here with us on WTOL 11 Plus. Now, if you are here right now, you already know about our exclusive streaming platform, and you've probably known that we're on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, and much, much more. You can find unique and local content on those apps, including this story that is on TikTok. We're talking about an environmental impact right here in Northwest Ohio.
A hog farm is being blamed for turning an Ohio creek bright red. This is liquid pig manure mixed with Poverty Run Creek near Cary. So what's being done about it? The Ohio EPA says the cause of this is equipment malfunctioning on the hog farm Wyandotte Pork. Officials say Wyandotte Pork is working with the EPA and other agencies, but they have not returned our request for a comment. Officials insist the liquid manure is not toxic and that the creek is not a source for drinking water, and there have been no impacts to wildlife. But locals say they've already seen dead fish floating in the water, and conservation groups are worried this will contribute to Lake Erie's problems. The EPA admits total cleanup won't be possible because of how easily the manure mixes with the water. Officials say the leak was stopped the same day it was discovered. But what do you think? Is this really no big deal? Click the drop down to find a link to the full story.
So once again, you can find that on TikTok, where you're learning new information on this story. Township trustees holding a public meeting late last night. They heard from neighbors who say they are still living with the smell of that hog manure in their water nearly 2 weeks later. The EPA was not at the meeting, and people living nearby say they left with more questions than answers. You can read about the investigation and what comes next for those families right now on our website, WTOL.com. Taylor Swift's latest album rollout is once again rewriting the marketing playbook. Fans snapped up a limited edition vinyl release in just 1 hour after a surprise countdown appeared on her website. And it's not just fans buying in. Giants like Apple, Google, and Spotify are all joining in on the frenzy.
Being back feels pretty good, huh?
The Breakfast Club is back for another session of detention. The beloved teen movie returns to theaters for its 40th anniversary. The Brat Pack classic can be seen on big screens across the U.S. September 7th and 10th. And then next year, Dirty Dancing in concert will visit more than 100 cities across North America and Europe. I can remember sitting in the theaters for both of those and how big of a deal, especially Dirty Dancing, and the soundtrack, I think, preceded the movie coming out.
Mm-hmm. My wife's a huge fan.
Yeah.
I think she's going to be very interested in all that's coming out. Remember it, though, born in the 80s, so big deal back then.
I was going to say I'm going to be really disappointing here. I have not seen either.
I encourage you on Spotify to look up the Patrick Swayze song, She's Like the Wind.
Okay.
Because I have my wife and all three of her sisters, excuse me, there are 4 total girls, but they all know it by heart.
I will report back tomorrow with a full sing-along.
Speaking of wind.
Yes, the wind of change is going to be blowing into the area for tomorrow, and we're going to feel a pretty big difference. So take you on over to the big weather maps. Doppler radar is showers and storms really towards the tail end of it right now. So where we have this activity is the east of I-75, and that is going to be scooting off to the east with dry weather set to return in the matter of about an hour or two. If you're west of I-75, likely already achieved that dry weather. Do have a few beneficial downpours, one that drifted north of Upper Sandusky, and Findlay's been an area really just north of Findlay. This is over toward Van Buren State Park, where we've got a nice little downpour. One shower west side of Fremont that is out there toward Terra State, Route 6. And over toward 590, and here the Toledo Metro, little if any additional rain that's going to be expected. We are in the 80s. It's been really humid this evening. We'll see the humidity levels drop off as we go overnight tonight. Now, quick update on Aaron, a Category 2 hurricane still. This track's well offshore, but impacts already being felt, especially through Georgia, South Carolina, and into North Carolina because of a massive wind field. It's a very large hurricane. Even though it stays offshore, it's going to be kicking up the surf, the wind, winds, the waves. In fact, tropical storm watches and warnings are in effect for parts of the Carolinas as they could get winds gusting over 60 miles per hour. Again, grazes just offshore as we go through the next couple of days. But major rip current risk all along the Atlantic seaboard will be something that much of the country, East Coast, is going to have to contend with. Back here at home, we've got a few shower storms that will taper off overnight tonight. We'll soak up any rain we can get. Mostly cloudy skies back into the area into Wednesday. Clouds will be thicker. A few showers east of Toledo. Main extent of any of that rainfall is just a little bit of patchy, isolated showers. As we go to tomorrow, highs are going to be only in the mid to upper 70s, much cooler. A feel is going to be out there, and the weekend outlook, we start in the 80s, we drop back into the 70s, and that's going to be a sign of a big pattern change toward the second half of my 10-day forecast. Upper 70s, lower 80s the rest of this week. There's that front Sunday into Monday, and it's going to send us plunging back into the mid-70s several days through the end of August, looking much cooler. Jeff, back over to you.
Well, from the battlefields of World War II to decades on the sidelines coaching young athletes, a Dallas man is reflecting on more than a century of remarkable memories.
At 101 years old, his family calls him a hero, not just for his service or his coaching, but the life he's lived. Kevin Reese from our sister station in Dallas reports.
Happy birthday to you. The banner on the front porch and the birthday cake candles.
Don't take a camera on my open mouth.
Kind of give the surprise away.
I don't think so. I sure did know I was 101, and I feel good about that.
And over a party of cake and pizza.
Very proud and have a lot to be proud about.
Herb Shaner's son and daughters.
There's no one like him. He's had a remarkable life.
Wanted to remind us how remarkable those 101 years have been.
I've had a good life, and I still do.
He was a skinny kid from Dallas, drafted into World War II, who found himself at the Battle of the Bulge.
My whole infantry regiment got captured.
And for months.
That's just war. Just the way it is. And
a sometimes starving POW.
I didn't become a hero. But I'm planning on being it.
But his family will tell you the hero part was just getting started.
Nobody gets that old.
Down the hallway, past the medals in a small room with decades of memories, is the story of a University of Texas track star and a Jesuit high school track coach.
Wonderful time in my life.
Several decades so wonderful that the annual track relays at the school.
And so yes, Hornack is right there now battling forward.
Bear his name.
Oh my goodness, yeah, I enjoyed it.
And for 69 years, his sweetheart Gloria has been by his side.
That one right there?
Yeah.
I love you.
Oh,
On his 99th birthday, he was driving a Sea-Doo. On his 100th, he was dancing on a river cruise. And at 101 admits he might be slowing down a bit. But his son says one memory.
We'd be proud of him if he never accomplished anything.
Might describe him best. In 2019, when a tornado struck Dallas, his son had to abandon a heavily damaged house and walk to a police roadblock.
We come out of the neighborhood, and there's my dad standing across the street.
At 95 years old, Herb Shaner had driven across town to help.
He had seen it on TV. He came to get us.
So never mind the room full of stuff over here. That tells me a lot.
He's my hero.
A hero, not because he has a room full of trophies and medals.
Well, he's been my hero my whole life.
His kids want you to know that life as a good husband and dad, with Gloria's help, is worthy hero stuff too.
Happy birthday to you. Wow, 101. Shaner says he is proud of his long, full life, and he still feels like he's got more to give.
And his family agrees, saying their best gift is simply having him with them 101 years and counting. Now, next on Now, new details about a tragic crash on the Ohio Turnpike, the new video of the aftermath, plus what we're learning about the victims and where the investigation stands.
I think we're going to get kind of lumped in there with this larger national conversation.
Well, you've heard the national conversation, the battle over congressional seats from Texas and California. But what about Ohio? We take a look and talk about the future and what it could, how that map could change.
My brand new album, The Life of the Showgirl.
Plus, haven't had enough T-Swift just yet. How one of her hobbies stirred up a controversial conversation right here on WTOL 11+. Thanks again for joining us here on WTOL 11+ now. We're tracking the stories happening around Northwest Ohio and Southeast Michigan.
Yeah, let's get you up to speed. First, new details on a deadly crash on the Ohio Turnpike. We're learning the names of the victims tonight. This is new video of the aftermath from early in the morning near Elmore. State troopers say 27-year-old Rolando Torres LeBron from Buffalo was driving a semi that hit a Ford pickup. LeBron and his passenger, 23-year-old Aisha Morales, and two children ages 1 and 3 were killed. The pickup driver survived with non-life-threatening injuries. The crash is still under investigation.
Congressional redistricting is set to happen again in Ohio, this time only for the state's 15 congressional districts. It all stems from the last attempt to draw maps in 2022. A supermajority did not agree on the new districts. Lawmakers have until the end of next month to pass a new map with a 3/5 vote and with support from at least half of Democrats. So if you're watching the drama unfold in Texas and California, you might want to ask if you'll see the same here.
This was something that was going to happen anyway. And so just to kind of be aware of that, because I think, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think we're going to get kind of lumped in there with this larger national conversation. And while that's not necessarily bad, it's also not the whole story. Texas didn't have to do this. Texas chose to do this kind of mid-cycle redistricting. California can choose to respond. Ohio is doing this no matter what.
If both sides can't reach an agreement, the Ohio Redistricting Commission takes over in October. If they can't agree, it's back to the General Assembly in November.
Local organizations are bracing for smaller grants this year from the United Way of Greater Toledo. The nonprofit says donations and fundraising fell short, forcing a 25% cut across its 3-year grant cycle. The Family Advocacy Center of Ottawa County saw funding drop by 25%, down to just over $18,000 this year. Leaders say that they're hopeful that other funding sources and volunteers will help try to fill the gap.
All right, we talked about Taylor Swift just a little bit ago. She showed off her new album on a podcast.
Yeah, but then she got a little more personal. Check out this clip from our exclusive streaming show, Good News Forecast.
mint green with TS on it.
Like he's narrating everything.
The face. This is my brand new album, The Life of a Showgirl.
Yeah, that's awesome. Really cool. And again, she went on this 2-hour podcast, which is crazy. And when she was on that podcast, she also talked a little bit about her hobbies. She said she likes old woman hobbies, one of those being sewing. And it may not be as old womanly as Taylor thinks, because check this out. One camp is getting the youth involved in sewing.
Yeah, there's an intergenerational summer camp bringing children and seniors together through the art of sewing. So every week, a group of grandmas teaches skills to kids ages 8 to 14 at the camp in Fullerton, California. Maybe Taylor's been to this one. They include sewing, cooking, and embroidering. During the last week of July, the older women taught the campers how to use a sewing machine and make pouches.
We're losing these skills. So many people are not using them anymore, so it's a real value to ourselves because we love the interaction with the younger group.
We both have things that we teach each other. Like, you know, it's like fun to connect with them and tell stories.
A nonprofit runs the camp aimed at bringing older adults together.
That's very sweet. I love
that. So, what would be considered your grandma hobby?
Okay, I don't really think this is grandmotherly, but I don't think, you know, like when I think about people our age and their hobbies, I don't think it's like baking, but that's mine, I would say.
On the phone.
Yeah, right. What about you?
Again, I don't think this is grandmotherly, but reading. I love just reading a good book. Granted, it's on my Kindle, but I enjoy reading. When I remember in 4th grade, it wasn't sewing, it wasn't anything like crocheting or anything, but I would take these little, I don't even know what they're called, like stencils almost.
Okay.
But I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. You like weave them in and out of the hole, and you create a little, like it could be like an ornament or something with yarn.
We did that in class.
Yes.
Right? You did that in class?
I did that in class, and then I carried it over to a hobby.
Okay.
And it's just something to pass the time. I loved arts and crafts as a kid.
Yeah.
This was just something different, but never got into sewing. Not a big baker. But also, what is considered grandmotherly these days?
Apparently sewing.
But I guarantee you, by the time we're grandmas, that maybe like texting or TikToking could be grandmotherly.
Well, that's kind of
just think about that perspective of 2025 in a few decades.
That's a good point. We'll have to do Good News Forecast in a few decades and follow up and share our grandmotherly hobbies then.
Well, that was Sophia Pericone and Kaylee Bowers. They focus on positive news guaranteed to make you smile or maybe spark up a new conversation about what you think is a grandmotherly topic. You can check them out in about 2 minutes, streaming right here on WTOL 11+.
I've noticed people in our newsroom, Cheyenne, one of our photojournalists here, she knits.
She's been knitting.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's something that's a little old school.
Yeah, I mean, Amanda too, they've done the whole knitting.
What goes around comes around, right?
Yeah.
It eventually comes back into style or back into fashion, so to speak.
Maybe she's crocheting. Is it crocheting?
I think it is.
Knitting.
Yes, crocheting.
Yeah.
It's crocheting.
Sounds a little
Our producer
fancier,
said it's
too,
crocheting. Yeah.
Weather-wise tonight, very humid weather still continuing across the area. We get a break in the humidity.